So, esta semana vamos a estudiar otra categoría de verbos, more stem changing verbs. So, last week we learned the O to UE verbs. This week we're going to look at the verbs that have an E in the stem. So, there's two categories of verbs. We have verbs that are E to IE and then verbs that are E to I. So we're going to have the same regla del zapato, shoe rule, or these are also boot verbs. So aquí tenemos el verbo querer. It has an E in the stem, and that E is going to change to IE, just like the other O to UE verbs. It only changes in the forms that are inside the boot. Then the other form or category of verbs that we have are the E to I. And so they function exactly the same. How do you know if it's going to be E to IE or E to I? So the way to tell that is that verbs that end in ER with an E in the stem will change the E to IE. For example, as we saw, querer. And then if the verb has an E in the stem, but it is an IR verb, then that E will change to I. For example, pedir. Pedir, this E, it's an IR verb, so the E will change to I. Pido, pides, pide, pedimos, piden. So there are some exceptions. So for example, preferir and mentir. So the way that I remember that is, if you think about these two are the general rules. These are like the patterns, right? And so I think of these two verbs, preferir and mentir, kind of like the rebel verbs, right? So they don't prefer to follow the rule, or this one lies about the rule. So that's just a little quick way to remember how to conjugate those verbs. So as a reminder, your grammar note for capítulo cuatro, so I'm going to pull that up, has these verbs in there. So I suggest that you always have that grammar note handy so that you can use it and follow along as you're going through your mind tap work and studying and so on and so forth. So this is the capítulo cuatro grammar note, and you'll see that we have the O to UE stem changing verbs, and then at the top, and then we get down to the E to IE and E to I verbs. So again, we have the E to IE and E to I. So IE, again, la regla del zapato. And then these are some examples of the E to IE verbs. And just like with the O to UE verbs, you want to make sure that you follow the type of verb. If it's an AR, ER, or IR, to make sure that those endings, when you conjugate the verbs, align with what type of verb. So here we have some E to IE verbs. And then over here, we have the E to I verbs, and they're going to conjugate exactly the same with that regla del zapato. Okay, so again, this is your grammar note for capítulo cuatro. Okay, so we are going to talk about to practice some of these stem changing verbs, and I'm going to link the song down below. But I'm going to tell you a story based on a music video for the song called El Baloncito Viejo. El Baloncito Viejo by Camilo y Carlos Vives. This is a new song that came out. Camilo y Carlos Vives son de Colombia, son colombianos, y son muy famosos in Colombia y todo el mundo latino. They're very well known in all of the Spanish-speaking world, and they're a very popular musical group. So El baloncito is like a ball, like a little ball, okay? And then viejo, you know what viejo means. So vamos a comenzar con la historia. So these are some of the words that, some of the vocabulario that you will hear in the story that I'm going to tell. So juega, you'll notice a lot of these stem changing verbs. See, to play, like to play a sport. Quiere, that's a new one. Quiere, to want. Comienza a llover. Comienza a llover. It begins to rain. No quiere perder. He doesn't want to lose. Pierde el partido. Pierde el partido. Perder means to lose. So pierde el partido, he loses the game. Piensa en la mujer. He thinks about the woman. Compite en el partido. Compite en el partido. He competes in the game. And then sonríe, from the verb sonreír, to smile. Okay. So aquí es la historia. Hay un hombre y el hombre canta en la cama. Canta en la cama. Hay una cama, una lámpara y una mesita de noche. Una cama, una lámpara y una mesita de noche. El hombre quiere a la mujer. La mujer sonríe. Ella sonríe. Pero la mujer se va. Ella dice adiós. La mujer no quiere hablar con el hombre, pero el hombre quiere a la mujer. El hombre va a competir en un partido. Va a competir. He's going to compete en el futuro. El hombre piensa en la mujer, pero el hombre no sonríe. Es muy serio. En el partido, ellos juegan con el baloncito. Comienza a llover. El hombre no quiere perder el partido. No quiere perder a la mujer. El hombre compite en fútbol y para la mujer. La mujer está en el partido. Ella mira el partido y el hombre compite para la mujer. El hombre quiere ganar. Ganar significa to win. Quiere ganar. Piensa en ganar y sonríe. Piensa en ganar o sueña en ganar. It's like he's daydreaming. See, soñar, remember soñar, to dream. So soñar con is like he dreams about, like a daydream, see? Pero el hombre pierde, no gana. Él pierde y no sonríe. El hombre no sonríe. Pierde y no sonríe. El hombre dice, vuelve, yo te necesito. Return, come back, I need you. Pero la mujer no vuelve. El hombre pierde el partido y la mujer pierde el partido de fútbol y pierde a la mujer. Pobrecito, está muy triste. Okay, so analizar la letra. I'm going to link the lyrics down below in the activity. And so you can listen to the song, you can read the lyrics and just get an idea what's going on. And there's going to be a couple of questions about this story that I just told in the activity. And then after you listen to the song, ¿te gusta la canción? ¿Les gusta la música? ¿Les gusta la letra, the lyrics? ¿Y crees que es cierto que las relaciones Pueden ser, can be, como un juego. Pueden ser como un juego. Okay, amigos, that's all that I have for this week.